Today we've got some do-it-yourself summer porch ideas. I'm Brandy and this is Making It My Own DIYs. Welcome back. The first project is a table plant stand. I thrifted this little table. I've had this for a while. Kind of grubby, needs a little bit of love, but I think I know what I'm going to do with it. Love it. I'm going to use brushes, sponges, whatever we need for the wax and the paint we'll be using here. Because we got to age it, of course. And then this beautiful piece, this is a rub-on transfer from IOD. The wonderful ladies over there sent these to me. And then this is the pack that they are from. I've had these for quite some time now. It's the seed catalog transfers. And here we go with the gloves, y'all. And these are the long ones. Let me show you how beautiful these are. Oh yes, the daisies. Okay, so I started off thinking I was going to use some wood tint here to put on this table, and I just was not happy with the way it was coming out. For one thing, I did not sand deep enough, and yeah, I should have, but it worked to my benefit in the end. Those little happy accidents we have, and one more crafting, and we're just like, I wonder. Well, I decided to go ahead and use my antiquing wax. So I wiped off a little bit I put on there and started putting on this antiquing wax. Now, because the surface is kind of covered in either like a varnish or a sealer of some type, and you can usually tell because it's kind of shiny looking, I didn't sand deep enough in there for this to soak in. Had it soaked all the way through, then it would be a darker color. Okay, so I start off by putting this on with a sponge. I put the first layer on with a sponge and decided that I'm going to build this like I'm using some type of a stain. Okay, and you then have to let it dry overnight, which is what I did. And now it's very dark. But I wanted a lighter color on the top because we're going to use a rub-on transfer, and I want to be sure that all the beautiful colors in the transfer pop. And I have to have it against a white background in order for that to happen. Otherwise, putting it on any type of a darker background is going to make it a lot darker, because the transfers are almost like you can somewhat see through them. They're very thin, and they'll just take on the color of whatever's in the background. So I wanted to do this white on here. I think I used plaster or ivory for this. Either one would work. And then once all of it is dry, I'm going to go along here with my little rub-on tool, and it's the little acrylic stick that comes with the stencils when you buy them. I'll go over the entire thing, and yes, there are cracks in the middle because this is like a little picnic table, right? But I'll show you what you're going to do for that, because this is not intended to be a solid piece. It's intended to look like it was painted on here, so we have to be able to see all of those cracks, right? So after you get your transfer down, you need to rub it with the backing that it came on, which is what I've done here. And then you can just kind of sand off the edges to make it, rather than cutting it, because it's a little bit longer, you could just sand that off. That's easy enough. And then pull that off and throw it away. Now it's a little bit sticky, which is good because it sticks to your surface. It's not moving around. It kind of gives you an extra hand. But it sticks to your fingers also. So you'll see me flicking bits and pieces if I didn't edit it all out. I'm going to go down here with just a utility knife or a little blade here. You can use your X-Acto knife for something like this as well. And I'm just going through here and slicing those pieces out. I put the blade right against the piece of wood, and then I hop over where the wood support is underneath and just cut up and down all the way down to the bottom. And I'll do this on both sides, so around each board that goes across the top, I'll be cutting these little sections off. And if they fall through, I just grab them from the bottom or use some type of a little stick or anything to just kind of push it back up so I can grab it and remove it and make it look nice and clean. The idea is to make it look like it's hand painted on here, or maybe that someone put it together with some old pallet wood. So it's kind of my idea here. I got this little table at the thrift store, if I didn't mention that before, so you might not find something exactly like that. But if you have like a little pop-up table like this, or any type of little, what you would probably call a plant stand or something like that, you can use the same technique here if there are any openings in it, or you can just, hey, if yours is a solid piece, you don't even have to worry about trimming it off. Now I'm lightly going over it with my sanding, my little finger sander here, just to give it more of a scratched up look and make it look like it's aged, like the table underneath is. And you can do that to your taste, as heavy distressing as you like on it. Totally up to you. And then I'm going to go around where I painted the wood white on all the edges and on the sides, and just kind of hit that also with the sander to bump a little bit of that paint off. Now this is outdoor Mod Podge, or either it's dishwasher Mod Podge. I'm not sure which one I grabbed, but I'm using this Mod Podge on here, and it takes quite a while for it to cure, so just use the directions on your bottle. But if we put a plant on here that is going to spill over, or the water will be sitting on here, then we want to be sure that this does not break down. We don't want this to break down at all. We want this to be just as beautiful next summer as it is right now. So we can do that by sealing it. You can use any type of sealer that you have as well, but this works to kind of seal in the chalk paint underneath, because chalk paint needs to be sealed, and it also helps to secure that beautiful print on the top. I'm just going to go over it for my own benefit with my heating tool, just lightly, to get it warmed up so it starts to dry a little bit quicker, so I can do my next process. Once it's completely dry, I'm going to flip it over. And you remember how I said that underneath was still kind of shiny? I didn't sand it all the way through. Well, I just went with that. This is 2 layers of that wax on there. It's shiny. It almost looks like a stain on here at this point. But it's protecting the wood, and it's okay with me if it chips off more and more and more, right? I like that look. I'm just going to go over it and kind of dry distress it with a cloth. I got a package of baby washcloths at Goodwill, so I'm just using that to go along and kind of scratch around the edges. Some places will take off quite a bit more paint, like right there where you saw, or more of that wax, which I don't have a problem with. If you don't like the look though, certainly go over it with a stain or whatever color, and you may even prefer to do the entire piece in the chalk paint. That's okay too. Always, always make it your own, and it's going to be nice. If it brings you joy, then it's the right thing, right? Now for further distressing, you can take anything like a wooden tool, you can take a screwdriver, depending on the amount of work you want to do and how much aging you want. You can choose wood over metal. It's a little bit softer, and it won't, necessarily scratch as hard or bring as much up, just in my own experience. Now I'm going to age it a little bit, and you could certainly age this before you seal it. I did it backwards because I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to age the top or not, but you know me, I had to do it. I had to do it. The bottom's aged, the top needs to be aged too. So here I am with my wax. Leave this off if this is not something that you enjoy. If you don't like rustic and maybe you like more of a clean shabby chic, then you can certainly leave it just like that. Now I'm going to go around here because I want everything on my porch, which is a wooden porch, and everything on the outside of my home. If I'm putting it out there, I want it to look like it goes together. I don't want anything standing out like a sore thumb. There's barely any left on the brush right now where you see me kind of making little circular motions all over. It's just to bring that antiquing wax to the inside a little bit, so there's no bright white anywhere. I hope that makes sense to you. And this is the top of it, and there are the sides, and then here it is. And I will also be showing you what you can, what it would look like if you actually put a plant on top. Dahlias, northern grown seeds. This is a beautiful pack. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. But if you like budget-friendly DIYs and you like and need the encouragement to go along with your crafting journey, then you are at the right place. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel, and giving me a thumbs up lets me know that I'm giving you the type of content that you enjoy. Here it is with a plant on top. Now this is just an artificial plant, just to show you. The next is going to be a raised planter. I don't know if this was a little stool, like a storage stool, but I got it at Goodwill and it did not have a top on it. But you can't pass up something like this. There's so many options. Here are the measurements on it in case you are wondering. You can kind of get an idea. Then we're going to use a big brush and some plaster chalk paint. I've got some stamps from Dollar Tree, and I'll be using a few of these. And then these are my IOD stamps. It's the first time I'm using IOD stamps. I was so excited. I'm going to be using the black and the Newgrass green inks with a brand new little ink pad. Now, as per their directions, you will take the ink and just kind of apply it onto the pad. Just put it on there, push it around with the tip of the bottle. Excuse me, y'all. I didn't sleep good last night, so I'm really umming today, and I do apologize for that. And then I thought, let's mix this up and give it some different colors. So I'm taking the green and going in the little spots where I didn't put down the black. Don't get too heavy here, because you do have to give it time to soak in. I switched over to this brush, which was given to me by a viewer, a subscriber. I don't know. It came in a Happy Mail, and I wanted to give them a try. So I thought this would be a good opportunity because I need a lot of coverage with this chalk paint to go on top of that very dark blue. The very dark blue, which is beautiful, and I guess I could have used it for some patriotic decor, but I had another idea for this, and I hope you like what I came up with. So I'm going to apply this white chalk paint all over the entire box, including the bottom and on the insides. Got to make sure, especially on that first coat, to get in all the little depressed areas, all the little curves, everywhere. I don't want any of that blue left to show. Get all in the corner. And I love this brush because it has like a little point almost on it in the fibers, and you can really get in those corners. So now I'm going to pull this off. The lighter piece is the top, and you remove that. So I'm taking it off, and I did watch one of their videos to make sure I was doing this correctly, so I didn't show you the wrong way to do it. You have to prepare your surface on these stencils, and you do that by using some fine sanding paper, and you just go over the top of them, and yeah, this is just part of the process. So I'm just going to go all in one direction, all over the entire sheet first. All in the same direction, making little scratches in the silicone or the rubber, whatever these are made out of. And then I'm going to turn them, and I will go in the other direction across all of them. It gives a little hash mark kind of pattern in there, and it's just supposed to be better when you use your stamps. Then just with a damp cloth, I'm going to wipe them all off. They didn't need to be wiped really though, because the sandpaper was so light it didn't shed, nothing shed, you know, it didn't cut it up. And then you're supposed to cut out your pieces. When you cut them out, you can actually use that thick plastic backing rather than putting it on a block, which is a good thing because I don't have any blocks, and I have no acrylic blocks other than a very small one, which would only work on the Dollar Tree stuff. So yeah, they also recommend that you curve the pieces and don't leave them pointy because you can cut yourself. That's how hard that plastic is, so just keep that in mind. Now I have got 2 coats and a little spotty coverage with this white paint on this blue, and I am going to start putting down these beautiful, beautiful stencils. Again, first time, but oh my goodness. I've used stencils before, but never IOD. And I'm just going to start randomly going around here and trying to make a pattern that makes sense to me, just like you should do when you're making yours. Now, if you don't have IOD, because not everybody is ready to invest in, you know, more expensive crafting tools, go to Dollar Tree, do this on a smaller scale with a smaller box, and you will be totally fine, because I was very happy with the stencil from Dollar Tree, but we'll get back to that when we get there. So I'm just going over here, and what you do is you lay the little piece down face up, and then you take your ink pad and just pat it all over the top of it, and then you pick it up and put it down where you want, or drop it like I did, so you can stamp your table. But if you get to it quick enough, it easily washes off. So this is that green and black together, and although you might not be able to see it on a tiny phone screen, if you watch this from a TV or a large computer monitor, you can clearly see that there is some prints that you can definitely see the green in with that black, and it looks so pretty to me. I'm going to also do the sides because why not? I'm going to do this entire box. And this box is going to give me a lot of options of how I can use it. It'll be really cute for like a tea tray, you know, put some cups on there and the creamer in there, and maybe your coffee cup and your book and your glasses, and have those on the back porch on the table with you. There's so many ideas, but you know, I'll show you a few when the project is complete. I'll show you a few of those. I had so much fun doing this. Look at this. Fun, fun, fun. And when you first press it down, you're going to get the darker color, and then if you just lift it up and put it back down, it's a little bit lighter. And there are spots where it is skipped. There are spots where there are some open white areas. I don't mind that at all. I don't. I'm not looking for solid coverage at this point. This is going to look like it's old and kind of faded and rubbed off in spots on my patio. Well, it's not a patio, it's a screen porch, but you get the idea. You may have a patio instead. You may just have a balcony. Maybe you have an apartment. Maybe you just have a threshold, you know, right outside your front door, and you have 4 or 5 feet of area that's yours. It's still yours, so make it your own, right? Absolutely. You can put a little rug out there. You can put a wreath on your door. You can do whatever you want. I do have another sheet of these, which I have not used yet, and they're more like, it almost reminds me of something you would use in the fall because they're more of like grassy pieces. So I'm going to be using those when I start doing my fall decor because I think that's going to fit in a little bit better with what I have in mind to do with them. These are so fun. I had so much fun. And y'all, this is what I do. I pick them up, I move them around, I go back and forth. I try to see how I want them to lay. You can layer them over one another, however you want to do it. Hey, if you're new to my channel, I just want to say thank you for coming by, putting up with my chattiness because, I'm telling you right now, when you come to my channel, you're going to hear chatting because I want to always explain myself and encourage people because I don't think anybody should be afraid to craft. If you want to craft, don't be unsure of yourself. Just start. It's paint, it's ink, it's paper. Throw it away and start over. That's the beauty of using inexpensive tools and, thrifting and Dollar Tree and discount items because you're not wasting a lot of money if you decide, hey, you know what? I don't really like doing stencils that much, but I love rub-on transfers. Whatever. You haven't lost a lot. Start off with a little bit. See, what you really like best to do. Maybe you don't want to paint. Maybe you want to invest in some Mod Podge or stamps, something like that. That would be good too. But you don't have to go all in, right? It's just like when you finish your projects. Now, I show a lot of projects on my channel every week because I want you to feel like there's something here for everyone. But by no means do I mean for you to go and do every project I do and have all that in your house because this is a business for me, Having this YouTube channel is my job. And I do this because it's my job. But there's no way if I was just a regular person, a regular crafter, I would make as much stuff as I make. I do it to teach you and show you and inspire you, okay? Don't compare ourselves to anyone else. Now here's the beautiful piece that I got from Dollar Tree. Difference is they're thinner, and you got to be super careful where you put that ink because if you get it on the little plastic that it sits on, it's going to smear and transfer when you press it down. So I had to very gingerly do this. And I just added it here and there all over the box. Then I'm going to start on the inside because that had to be pretty too. We can't just forget about the inside. You're going to be looking down in there, right? So this huge fern piece I thought would be lovely in here. And then I decided to just kind of run with that and make it look like there's a bunch of stuff growing out of the corner. So we're going to be working from that corner outward a little bit. You see how it's kind of faded looking there? I'm totally all right with that. I'm going to add another leaf. So what kind of leaf do you think this is? Is that one of those leaves that is it called ginkgo? Maybe? Do you know what this is? What do you think that leaf is? I know what the fern is, but I'm not really sure what this one is. It's pretty though. The skeleton makes a beautiful, beautiful print. And then some of the ferns are curved, some of them are kind of curly, some of them look like, I believe it's called maidenhair fern. This one actually has the little spores on the back that you can see. And I'm just going to be mixing them all together. Looks like they're growing from a clump, doesn't it? Then I'll add this one up here. Love how it's got the little section on the bottom with the stem. Do y'all like the music in this video? I use Epidemic Sound, and I love that they have such a big variety of moods and genres that you can get for your videos. And I absolutely love being able to set the mood with music. And I loved that today I was able to bring you some, rather relaxing and calm, kind of like sitting on the porch and just daydreaming music. I hope that that's how it has come across, and I hope that it brings you some joy today. I think acoustic guitar is one of the prettiest sounds. What do you prefer? Do you like guitar, or do you prefer like piano? Because there's definitely a place for piano too. But there's something about an acoustic guitar that just has my heart. So now put this little piece from Dollar Tree onto a block, just a little acrylic block that I thrifted. And then I decided we're just going to go ahead. I've got this ink over here. I'm going to just use it. I'm not going to let anything dry out. And I am going to start stamping all of the sides of it too. So I'm putting this print all the way around the sides. Yes, it's a big stamp, and I'm kind of rotating how I lay it. You can see I'm going back and forth. Then I'll take a different stamp. Sometimes I'll stamp twice before I grab more ink. And look at the texture it gives around the top. It's almost lacy, or like a butterfly wing, isn't it? Or a dragonfly wing. I love it. So I'm going to let you listen to the music for just a second while I have a sip of coffee. Enjoy. All right, so you can see that I also went on the insides of the box. And after I've given that ink a chance to dry, I'm going to start aging the box, of course. So I'm just using, this is a stencil brush that I'm using over here. I just used it because my other brushes were still wet from being cleaned. But it works great, and it's working great to go over the edges here. And I'm just going to go around every edge. I'm going to go around the legs. I'm going to make it darker around the feet, as if it's been sat down a lot and maybe some, some of the wood has peeled off. And then I'll be going around the inner curves too, in the top of the box, the bottom of the box. And I actually even do the bottom of the box. This is a completed piece. The entire thing is completed. And I love it. And cannot wait to get it out there on my little screen porch. And don't worry, y'all's makeover is coming. It is definitely coming. I had so many people say that they would like to see me do a decorate video or a clean with me or whatever on the back porch. So I will definitely be sharing my space with y'all, and that will probably be an extra video, like maybe a Saturday video. So you may get a little bonus video from me. How about that? And then we'll do all the top too, just kind of age it, kind of bump it up a little bit. If you have a piece that just looks a little too nice and neat, you can always use a hammer and smack some marks in it. There are so many ways that you can age pieces in a textural way rather than just using waxes and such. Maybe at some point I'll do that. I try not to make too much noise. I don't get into that heavy duty stuff, but it really does make a difference on a piece when that's what you're going for. I would rather kind of fake it with my waxes and my paint techniques. Yeah. And if you got neighbors and you live in an apartment, they would probably appreciate you doing the paint technique as well, instead of banging around and them calling management on you. That wouldn't be good. Don't tell them I encourage that now. Don't do it. Don't do that. So you can see here I'm going back and forth. And again, I don't want to leave any of my places looking too clean, because it looks odd if there's a really clean spot and then you have all of this aging around it. So I'm always going to go back through when there's barely anything left on the brush and go across the piece lightly to blend it, try to blend it all out. I think that's what sells the whole aged look, in my opinion, is really being consistent in the whole piece and everything looking like you didn't miss anything, You know what I mean? I know you do. Be sure when you're doing the legs that you're also doing the insides of the legs, the underside, all of it. Every leg, every bit of it. And this is how all that is going to look. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. Now you can seal this at this point if you're going to put anything in it, like a cold glass of maybe tea or a drink or lemonade, because if it sweats, then it can ruin the box. So just be sure that you are using the outside or the dishwasher safe Mod Podge and doing the recommended cure time before you actually use a piece like this. And so here's an idea of how you could use it. If you wanted to set it up, you could, if you set it up in the house or if you have a TV outside, you can put some coasters in there. You can put some flameless candles in there to give you a little romantic ambiance, certainly, or football ambiance, whatever, floats your boat. All right, now we're going to do a nightlight lamp. This is a piece that I thrifted. I know it is a globe for a light. So many options with this little beauty. It's grubby, but we're going to clean it up. I'm going to use 2 of these string lights, the cork lights, and an old lamp that has seen better days but been in our family for a billion years. It's not like an heirloom, so don't worry. Now I've got a stack of paper towels here, and I'm going to grab a good cleaning spray, spray this down all the way over the top, all the way around the sides, and let it sit and eat through any of the yuckiness that might be on this globe. And believe me, there's a lot of yuckiness there. While that is soaking or cleaning over there, we're going to remove the wiring from here. We're going to take the screw out, and I'm also going to remove the cup where the electric little pieces go, where the bulb goes. And I will tighten up the inside. Now there's a metal piece that goes from the inside of the lamp all the way down to the bottom, so you'll need to screw that securely. And then I'm going to start wiping the bottom. This is like a dark gray color, and the metal has some rust on it. So I'm going to keep that rust. I like it, but it needs to be cleaned up. So I'm going to clean it off. This is a regular baby wipe. It's a water wipe, and I get these from Target. Well, they're from Target. I didn't get them from Target, but you get it. And then once I got all that clean, I'll let it dry. I'm going to take a paintbrush with some tight bristles and scrub that cleaner into all of those little different sections of that cut glass. Did you look at the dirtiness on that towel? Ugh. I'll take it in the bathroom, rinse it off, dry it out. Then I'm going to grab some silver paint to go on the inside. The silver paint is because I want a reflective surface on the inside. Very important because this is dark and I don't want any of the light to be absorbed or kind of dispersed downwards where you can't see it. I want there to be some reflectiveness so you can really see it. And then I'll take a wet wipe and make sure that I wipe off all of the edge part because, you'll be able possibly to see that. And I want it to be neat. I don't want any streakiness up the sides. We'll set that away. We'll set that to the side and let it dry and then start working on the bottom. I'm using antiquing wax for this. After it is clean and dry, I'm going over this entire piece, all of the metal. I'm really focusing in on those rusty spots so we don't have any further rust coming out. And then I'm going to go around all of the wood pieces and every little bit. This is just going to richen it up. It's going to beef up that color, give us some nice, dark, warm texture. And you can flip your pieces over and work on the metal on the top part as well. If you let this dry, it'll be pretty much permanent. If you decide that you want to wipe it back, that it's too heavy for you, then you can do that as well. Now this is just a lid off of a candle that I had, a candle jar from Dollar Tree, and I decided to use that. And you see how shiny it is? I also put gloss Mod Podge on top of it. Now, because 2 of these will fit on the inside of here, and we want to hide these little pieces, right? So I'm going to put glue on the back and put those underneath here. Same thing over here. We're going to turn it in the opposite direction so that it will be balanced when we sit it down. Give it a chance to dry. There's those lights. 2 together is going to be a whole lot brighter. Still a mood lighting though. Now they're wound up. I wound them around a few of my fingers. Then we're going to push them down. Rather than putting a ton of hot glue on here, I'm going to use some of this double stick mounting tape. I'm going to push the wires into it. And then I am going to take that bundle of both wires and just press them down until it can stay pretty stable on there. This will just balance on the inside and the globe goes right on top. The globe is easily removed. I don't have anything to latch it down or hold it in place, so this is not pet or kid friendly. Only for adults. And this is how the little lamp is going to look when it is light outside, so you don't even really need the lights, but you can see them in there. I think it looks much better. I've given it new life and now it'll be used again. And here it is in the dark. So I've turned off my studio lights. I just have a few lights around the top of the room. Look how beautiful this looks through all of that cut glass. So romantic and beautiful. It looks like the moon, doesn't it? Yes. Date night, y'all. Now we're going to do a 10 floral sign. So here's my 10 sign. The measurements are about 24 inches, so 2 feet approximately. And then I'm going to use some Goo Gone. I've already scratched at some of these pieces and couldn't get the little stickiness off from some tape that was on there. So I'm going to just use a Q-tip and some of this Goo Gone, rub it on there, let it set for a moment. Then I'll do the other side, same thing. You want to let it sit so that it kind of soaks in there. It starts to break it down. I think you can use like lemon oil and orange oil to do the same thing, but I've got Goo Gone and I've always had it, so that's what I'm going to use. Be sure once you use it and you clean your piece up that you go in there with some alcohol, some rubbing alcohol, and clean this all off. Get every bit of that oiliness off. All right, so I'm going to use some ribbon from Dollar Tree, some eucalyptus picks, and this beautiful rub-on transfer from OD. And it's from the Whispering Willow pack. Beautiful pieces. I've done several pieces and they are so, I love them. I love them so much. We're going to use a chippy brush and some ivory chalk paint. And again, I don't want that background to be brown. If I leave it completely brown, then you're going to lose the transfer in it. It's not going to be seen as well. So I'm going to give it a surface that will sort of support that color. And when we rub it on, you'll be able to see the beautiful transfer a lot better in detail. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, and then I will also be adding it up to the top. This is sort of a dry brushing technique. I added a little more to the top area because we're going to be putting something across that and I want it to be more opaque. I'm going to dry everything off. You can use a hair dryer, you can just give it time, you can take it outside in the sun, you can put it by a fan. You know, there are lots of ways you can dry your piece a little bit quicker if you need to do that. And then I'm going to find my placement on here for this beautiful, beautiful print, which, by the way, would be lovely horizontal or vertical, whichever way you choose to put it. Then I'll drop it down when I know where I want it. I'm just going to take my hands and rub over there because you remember what I told you? They are a little sticky on the back and they'll try to hold their place. Now, the reason why that looks wrinkled, it's not wrinkled. It's because it's a piece of tin, so it will kind of warps when you rub it. You know what I mean. You know how that metal is. I'm going to just use my Mod Podge squeegee for this because I looked everywhere and could not find my acrylic stick. And I just had it, y'all, for the other project. What in the world? But no, it wasn't where my glasses were, in case you're wondering. Now I'm going to go over it with that little wooden stick that I use a lot for this. Takes a little more time for me to do it because it's smaller, but, you know, it's worth it. Just if we've done a good job with our speed on everything else and we've used our dryers and got that paint dried, we can take a little more time for this part, and it's really worth the payoff. So once I've got that in place, you can see how the color kind of changes once you have them rubbed down. It sort of lifts away on its own, but just peel it off very, very slowly and carefully, because if a piece sticks, you can quickly put it back down before you tear the whole sheet off and fix it. So remember, When we do the transfers, we always got to use that backing and rub over it and hold it in place. All right, this is how it looks so far. Hey y'all, quick thank you to the channel members whose support keeps me going and gives me a little extra income on my channel. Thanks y'all. All right, I'm grabbing some antique and wax on the brush. I didn't even get any extra. I'm just using what was on there, but it was a little heavy. You can see that spot where I first put it down? A little too heavy. Right there, went a little too heavy-handed. We're gonna fix it. I'll show you what we're gonna do to fix it. No worries. I'm just going over here just to kind of give it a little bit of a lifted look, a little bit of a shadow to make this pop a little bit. Do you have to do this? Absolutely not. But I really like to do this on my pieces because, again, it makes you kind of keeps your eye busy, and you can look at it longer. It's interesting to your brain, and we want to keep our brains entertained, right? We want to fight things like Alzheimer's and memory loss and things like that. So let's keep our brains busy with something that is functional and happy, right? Let's get that joy every day. So now I'm taking this wired ribbon, and I decided for this, I think that it would look better if I had some raggedy looking edges, right? So I'm just going to go down here and slice the wire. Just going to cut that right off. And I'm just going to have enough that I can fold over, put it down on the front, fold over and glue to the back. I'm going to pull those loose threads on the ends, well, on the sides, till I get it as frayed as I like it. And to me, that's much better. Much better for this rustic look. Then I'll add some hot glue on the sides, just to make sure I don't glue it in the wrong spot when I put it on the back. And then try to get my ribbon where it needs to be. Nice and straight. And then we can flip it over and glue it onto the back. Now, if you don't like ribbon, you don't have to do this. You could certainly stop just at doing the painting, right? You could stop right there. Did you have to use tin? Nope. You can also get those little wood signs at Dollar Tree, paint over them, or you can get the ones that are raw and you can do the same thing. All right, so I've just cut my eucalyptus picks, and I chose this eucalyptus because it's the same shade as the eucalyptus that is in the little bundle of flowers that we have down there. And I'm just going to add those just randomly. We're not looking for anything that is symmetrical at this point, just something that's pretty, I'm going to add a bow, but you don't have to do this part if you want to leave it off. I just think that it's feminine and dainty for the project. For the types of flowers that we have there, they just look so feminine and pretty that this was suiting for that. And you let me know in the end, So that's just a very, very simple bow that I've taught y'all how to make, and I know y'all are very proficient at making this type of bow. And then we'll tie it with some jute, tie it off, cut that loose, and then you can decide if you want to do some dovetails or if you want to cut at a slant. And of course, fluff that bow. We're all about fluffing those bows. Got to fluff the flowers, got to fluff the bows. Got to give them that love. Very short, little dainty bow. It's not going to hang over and get in the way of what we have going on because we put it far enough down. Then we could just add this. You can add a flower in the middle if you want, but I'm just going to take a little more of that eucalyptus to put on the top, down in that glue, and then I'll add another piece on the side. Perfect. Again, not symmetrical, not a problem. Now we're going to go over here and we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. And this is how this piece is going to look. I like it very much, and I hope that you like it too. I hope you feel inspired to make something of your own like this. Y'all, I'm working toward 100K by Halloween, so please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already to be part of it. Now we're going to do a mini stamp sign. This is very beginner friendly. So here's that ink that we used before. You can see the green and the black in there. Then we're going to go right over the leaves. We're going to tap it down on top of that leaf. and then we'll place it down. And this is just one of those little canvases that you can get from Dollar Tree, and they come in, I think, like a 3-pack, maybe a 4-pack. You never can tell. I've had these for a while, and things change at Dollar Tree. But I'm just going to make a little one here that you could turn into a pick to put in your plant, or you can use just as a little hanging sign, which is what I made with it. Just on a smaller scale, right? If you don't have the room for all of this, this is just going to be on a smaller scale. So I'll grab some of the pieces and just add them all over here. It's really important, which, you know, I'm still learning about stamps, that you put it down and you lift it straight back up. You don't want to drag it to the side, or you have to be very careful or it'll smear your paint, or your ink rather. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And I do make mistakes, you know, we all do. That's all right. It's totally okay. You know, I'm not starting over. I can just throw some more paint on top of it and call it a day. And now I'm going to add some more little random pieces in here. And this would be perfect, absolutely perfect, for you to do as a beginner crafter, or do it in a group. Have y'all heard about the Crafty Cruise Getaway? If you have not, you need to go over to the link that I have in the description box below and see how you can become part of that for 2025. Because yes, we're doing it again. This is our 2nd year. We are all very excited, and we would love to meet you and give you a hug and craft along with you. So here's the canvas, looking nice and pretty. And now we're going to do something to put it on, right? So I'm going to take this moss chalk paint, the antiquing wax, and this little wood hanging decor piece from Dollar Tree. And we're going to crackle paint, y'all. Yes, we are. We're going to take this rope off, only because it could possibly get in the way of what we're doing, and I don't want that to happen. So we're just going to take it off. You can reuse it or make something else. I'll start by putting on my green paint. I chose this color green because it has a little bit of a bluish tint to it, and the Spanish moss that I have is definitely a warmer shade. So I thought this would look better with the color of ink, the way that it is coming out when we stamp it. So this is why I chose this color, but you can use any green you want. And I have heard from a few friends that you can actually use acrylic paint, but it's a little more difficult. So this is why I'm using chalk paint. Now sped this up so you could see how the color changes when it dries. It goes from light to a much deeper color, as you can see here. So it won't always be the same as when you paint it on. Going to use some school glue, some ivory paint, or plaster, whichever one you choose to use. We'll start off by taking some of this school glue, putting it down on this piece. And then we're going to be using a brush to get a nice even coat. If you get too much glue, just scoop it off to the side. You can put it right back in that bottle. Then, while it is still wet, I'm going to load up my brush with some of that white paint. And then I'm going to sort of drag it across the top with no pressure. I'm just going to drag it. It's just sitting on my hand right across to the side. Be sure that you don't push down hard, because you will mix your glue and paint together, and that will not make a good crackle. I've been trying to learn, y'all. It's always about continuing your education, right? I'm constantly watching about techniques and what I need to do differently, and even things with my channel, trying to keep it straight. Try to keep learning. Okay, now I'm going to let you watch some crackling. It's very exciting. You never know exactly what's going to turn out like. And when I put the stuff down on the top, it kind of skipped a little bit, so it already gave me an idea of how it might turn out. But look at the crackle forming already. Look at that. You can see that pretty clearly, can't you? It's always kind of a mystery until you dry it, or until it begins to dry. And you could just leave it alone and let it dry by itself, or you can put it by a fan, you know. So many different ways. Got to think outside of the box sometimes, ladies and gents. Yes, you do. I'm just going to keep going along here. And I want to let you know that you are not alone. Recently, I've had a few of you guys reach out to me and say that you were having a really difficult month. You're having a really difficult time. And I just want you to know that things do get tough, things do get hard, but please never think that you're alone or that you're not worthy or valuable of anyone's time or attention. I'm here for you. There are other people who are here for you. Reach out when you feel like you need some help. Don't go it alone, because you don't have to, okay? And you've got my email. You can email me when you're struggling, if there's just something you want to say, something simple, and if you just want an ear, you can reach out, because you're in my prayers every night, every day. I pray for all of you, all of my viewers, all of my subscribers, my members, my family, my friends, people I don't know, And you can call me Pollyanna if you want to, but that's just who I am, and I'll always be that way. I wish you the best in every venture in your life all the time, and I want you to remember that. Okay, so now we're going to just hot glue that down on there, and I wanted to add some words. Since the top has that beautiful little curved area, I'm just going to use a part of a transfer that I already had from Dollar Tree. I used part of this to make a little birdhouse last year, I think. Oh, now I'm going to glue it down. Before, I just laid it on there. It was just a tease. And I like the orientation this way, where the leaves are going up. Press it down for just a moment, and then now we can put down this little piece, and it's going to be right over a spot that doesn't have a lot of crackle in it, so you'll be able to see the words. It's kind of small, but I didn't have anything larger, but I think it works. I think it definitely works. I think this would be really cute if it was hanging up at your door or off of your mailbox. I think that would be really cute. Welcome sunshine. Absolutely. Absolutely. Welcome the sunshine, even though it looks like it's about to pour down rain here. And then I'll just go over the top with a little antique and wax to seal that in as well. And I am going to add a string back in here, tie it off to complete this little project. You can make it reversible by doing something on the back if you wanted to. You surely could. Now my hanger ends up being a little bit longer than what originally was on here, but I like it that way. We're going to go with it. How about that? There you go. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy. Easy. You've totally got this. I thank you for coming by today, and I want you to see this little rectangle in the bottom, because it's another video I think you would really, really enjoy. I'll see you soon. Bye.